Hello and welcome back to another video. I have another haul for you. I know, it's been so soon after Christmas and it's almost my birthday, so there may be another haul after my birthday. However, it's the January sales, and as much as I'm trying to save money, Cass Hat had a great sale on. I also noticed something else that I've been eyeing up for months and months and months, and finally we can get it in the UK, which I'm pleased on. And then the third thing is actually something very essential for my office. So we'll start with that one. I actually purchased a new chair. My old chair was an office chair from IKEA, and although it served its purpose, I definitely felt like I wasn't getting the nice seated posture that I should get, considering I sit at my desk all day, every day for my day job and then for my business in the evenings. I'm sat at this desk a lot of the time, so I needed something good. I needed something that was going to help me, and so I found this gaming chair. It is from GT Player. I will leave a link to the listing I purchased it from down below. It will be an affiliate link, so that will help me if you do buy it through that link. But it is a great chair. I'll put some B-roll over this so that you can see it, but it is lilac, so great colour, perfect for my office. It has a footrest, it is fully reclinable, it has lumbar support and also a cushion, and I've been sat at it all day today, and let me tell you, my posture must have been horrific because my back is sore today, and I think it's just from actually sitting up straight, and I'm using muscles that I probably never use, and it's been fantastic. So that's my first purchase. It was being sold for 175, I think, but I had a £50 voucher off it, so I only got it for just over 100, which is fantastic, and I'm very pleased with it, and I love it, and I can't wait to keep using it. So that's the first item of this haul. Now the second item, like I say, is from Cass Art. Yes, they had a big sale on, and there were a few things that I thought I would try out or get, considering I would never usually pay full price for those items. Now, one of which is the one and only Bob Ross. I have been eyeing up his liquid white because I've done quite a lot of Bob Ross paintings, as have most of the people here on YouTube, and they're just beautiful and relaxing to do, and I enjoy doing them in my spare time. I've hosted Bob Ross nights for my rugby team, and I'd love to use a proper liquid white and see how that differs from the DIY liquid white that I always tend to use when we do these things. So I'm going to probably do a video in the future to test whether this liquid white is worth buying or whether makeshifting your own DIY version works just the same. So there will be a video on that in the future, but this is the Bob Ross liquid white that was on offer. Next, I am a sucker for new products or products that I've not used before, and one product I've not used before is a liquid watercolour. So I would imagine it's probably like a water-based ink. It's water soluble again once dried. I'd like to know that really. And this Sminkle, I think the brand is called Sminkle, had their Aqua Drop set of 5 on offer, and I thought I would purchase it. And it also comes with a little refillable pen, so you can use one of the colours in the pen, which I thought was a really nifty little idea. So I'm excited to use that. We will definitely be using that in this video. And then the other thing is, I love my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I have a really nice small set, but really nice perfect colours. I have a few other coloured pencils, but nothing quite matches up to my Polychromos. But I'm part of a group, like a pet portrait group, and I hear so often that the white Polychromos is nowhere near as good as the white Luminance. So I thought I would buy the white Luminance and maybe a few other pencils. So I got a few individual pencils. I like the way this is packaged. That's quite nice. We have the white Luminance, like I say, so this pencil here. I also picked up this colour called Terre de Cassel, Cassel Earth. I don't know why I read it in French first. It's a really deep umber, almost erring on black. It is that dark, and I thought they would be a really nice duo to have as part of my pencil collection, and see how they are. They might be a much nicer texture than the Polychromos. I don't know, we're going to test that out. And then just a couple of extra colours for my Polychromos set, because like I said, I've got a very small set, but small and mighty, but I was lacking a couple of the brown shades and green shades. So I picked up raw umber, burnt sienna, and olive green yellowish. So some really, really nice colours there. So we will get to swatching those and doing some art with those and the liquid watercolour, I think, in this section. And we will save the Bob Ross liquid white for another video in the future, I think. So then the third and final thing as part of this haul was, so I think probably a lot of you will be aware of Sarah Renee Clark here on YouTube. She is a wonderful Australian creator and artist and has so many amazing resources for artists to use. So I do recommend checking her out. But the key ones that I've been after are her colour cubes. They are incredible. She had a catalogue, a digital catalogue where you could have all these colour kind of guides and charts and things, and she's made it into a physical copy. Now, I've been wanting this for a while, but only recently, I think, as far as I've seen anyway, you can now get it in the UK. She has a warehouse in the UK where you can get it, and I picked up both colour cubes. So let me pull this mammoth out. I'm very, very excited about these. Very, very excited. Here is the box. There. And this box should contain another box. Oh, well, another 2 boxes, I think. Let's remove that. It's got my address in it. So this says, a new world of colour inspiration awaits inside. So in here should be 2 cubes. Ta-da! And each of these cubes have so many, we'll just pull one out for now, so many colour swatches for you to use in any aspect of your life. So this is what the cubes look like. Beautiful aesthetics. This is going to look amazing on my shelves, let's be honest. Probably up here with my Pantone or something like that. We'll have to have another rearrange of these shelves at this point. But the reason I got this was, 1, self-indulgence, of course, but 2, I actually think they're going to be very good. I tend to suffer with the type of artwork I have with, I find a reference photo and I basically replicate that reference photo. I don't really inject any of my imagination, or I don't know. I mean, that's just the style of artwork I do. It just is what it is. But I actually think seeing say a landscape, choosing one of these colours, I'm trying to show you them but I can't get into it, give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Then using some of these colour swatches in here to manipulate the colours of the landscape to create something completely new is going to be incredible. You can also use this to decorate a bedroom or decorate a room in your house and use the colours on one of these swatches. I've seen people do that. I've seen people crochet to the colours. I've seen people do clay earrings to the colours. It's got endless possibilities. So this is what the box looks like. It has a lid, and then inside this lid are hundreds and hundreds of these. So you have a swatch on the back there, then on the front will be the scene that those colours have come from. How incredible is that? So there's one example. Let me give you another example from the middle. I don't think these are in any particular order, so I'm just going to pull and place back in wherever. This one's beautiful. So this is a beautiful landscape and the colours are pulled from there. Then they will have the number codes for those colours as well, so you can search them digitally. But also I can just match the colours up to this, and I think that's incredible. I just think it's amazing. I'm so excited for this. I think I could just look through these images and colours for hours. I really, really could. Now, I will show you some close-ups of these when we do some swatching and stuff, but I don't think I'm going to include them in the artwork today, just because I think these deserve their own video like the liquid white. But we will be using the selection of pencils I got, the Polychromos and the Luminance, and we will be using the Sminkle liquid watercolours in this video as well. So I'm really, really excited. I think that's a really nice little haul, and I think well worth getting in the January sales and adding to my collection and my display work as well. So I'm really, really excited about this. Let's get to swatching the supplies and let's create some artwork with them and see how they perform. The colours of these aqua drops were just incredible. They're really lovely, and I did off camera do a few tests where I actually did some painting with some Winsor & Newton water-based inks, and if ever you've used those little dinky little bottles of their Winsor & Newton inks, you will notice that the ink is very vibrant. It's almost highlighter in colours, it's neon almost, and that's what I was really expecting from these. I didn't expect this watercolour feel. I know they're liquid watercolours, but that's honestly what I was expecting, a more neon, a more vibrant, transparent tone. And I know these are transparent, but I don't know how else to explain it. These felt like I was painting with watercolours that I'd watered down. They really did. They didn't granulate in the sense of them having granulation, but they had that grainy quality that watercolours have. They had that just appearance of watercolours. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm repeating myself over and over again, but they are like watercolours, and I was very, very impressed. This little colour selection was beautiful, a really nice muted colour tones. I did go back onto Cassat just out of curiosity as to how much I spent on them, and they did have a second set. It didn't come with the pen, it came with a white and a black instead, and those colours were a bit more primary, a bit brighter, so I'm glad I went with this set because it was definitely a bit closer to the colours I would use for the artwork that I use. But as you can see here, look at these colours, the beauty in them. This is again my usual swatching of colours where I mix each colour with one another at least once, and you get this lovely grid. Obviously there's not loads of colours, so there's not a vast grid like usual, but they created a really nice range of colours. And when I looked at those colours, I definitely saw a parrot, a macaw type situation with their vibrant oranges, blues, a bit of green in there, and that's kind of what I went for, and found a lovely reference photo of one to replicate with these. So I did do some tests as well on whether they are resoluble once dry. Now on my little ceramic palette, as you can see there, once they dried on there and I added water, they did reactivate but became grainy. So I tried it on some paper off screen and they didn't reactivate. You could pick up maybe a minute amount of colour. You could probably create a bit of a watermark if you left a bit of water to sit on it and then wiped it away, but I wouldn't say it reactivates like a watercolour. So that is probably the main difference between a watercolour and these liquid watercolours. But other than that, they react just the same. I think you can have that lovely quality that I mentioned in my recent Karen marker video, where because they don't reactivate quite as much, you can layer them and create a lovely layering effect, almost like an alcohol marker, where you put down the colour, and if you use the same colour over the top, you can deepen it without having to deepen the actual colour you're using. So that's a really lovely benefit of these, and they applied very smoothly. Really, really lovely application, really, really nice colours and blendability of them as well. It was very, very nice to use. Now onto the actual artwork. Like I say, these colours I felt lended themselves very well to a parrot / macaw. I don't actually know which one this one is, but I definitely deepened the greeny areas. Just behind the blue was meant to be a bit more of a yellowy neck, and although I did have this yellowy colour, I added too much blue to it and created a bit of a greeny hue to it, so it ended up being way more green in this, and like I say, there was meant to be a band of more of a yellowy tone behind the blue head, but that's fine. I think that's fine, it's not a problem. And like, as you can see here, look at me overlaying these. That noise was Freddie, by the way. He's decided to come over and pester me whilst I'm filming this voiceover, and he's knocking everything off my desk. Yes, so I did create this lovely green colour, and that was using the blue and the yellow and also the sepia. The blue and the sepia created this lovely green colour as well. It was very sap green, and I think that might be the green I add into the pen. I didn't want to do that for this video because I was unsure what I wanted, because obviously you can't remove that colour from the pen once it's in there, so I wanted to be certain after using these liquid watercolours for a little while which colours I wanted to mix inside of my pen. Then to deepen this, I added more blue to the mixture of colour, and that created this really lovely forest green. I was so surprised at the two very different greens you could create with these colours, and it really was beautiful, very, very beautiful. I can see myself using these quite a lot in the future. They're sadly not very portable, so I guess if you bought a lot of the refillable pens, you could make your colours and make a set of colours with these. The only problem with that is the pens are pretty expensive to buy by themselves, so that would be my only drawback on this, is I wish the pens were slightly less expensive. But when I open the pen up, it is just basically a refillable felt tip. You could probably use, I don't know, a mixture of places do refillable felt tips. I think even, what's the brand that make the crayons? Crayola actually do refillable pens that you can use, so I would imagine you could probably just use those, and they would probably be a damn sight cheaper than buying these Schmink Aquadrop liquid pens that are specifically for this reason. So just something to bear in mind, but it would be lovely to create a full set of pens with these to take and be a bit more portable than trying to lug around these heavy bottles of paint. But yes, the majority of these colours laid down beautifully. We laid down layers upon layers of them, and then I thought, let's ground this bird down here and create a little fence for it to stand on, which worked really, really nicely actually. I kept it very angular, and it definitely looks very good. Now onto these pencils. I went ahead and started using that Castle, I can't remember what it was called now, Castle Black or Castle Brown, to create the dark areas, because unfortunately I couldn't mix a really dark colour. I really tried and I couldn't mix a really dark colour, and so I had to really heavily resort to this pencil. What I did find is that although the luminance pencils and the polychromos pencils are both wax based, and I have two of the luminance pencils, this Castle Black was a little bit chalky. I did find when I was using it, it's very chalky, whereas the white was definitely more of a waxy feel. So I think it definitely depends on the pigments. I know we know this from other supplies, but it definitely played a role in this. But it wasn't enough to put me off it. Usually that chalky texture really puts me off, but it wasn't enough. It laid on very nicely. I do wish I'd kept sharpening it and kept that really nice sharp point so I could do the detail a bit better, but it worked very, very well. And I did, like I say, heavily rely on this to add my deepest shadows into this art piece, and I don't know whether it would have been nice to do that in more of the liquid watercolours rather than the pencil, but it added a lovely texture over the top of the pencil. I then used my polychromos, the yellowies, the greens and the more sepia tone, just to add a little bit more texture into its front, into the beak, and then onto its back, just adding a little bit more of that colour variation into the back feathers as well. But what did surprise me, and what was very true to what I said I saw on a post on my pet portrait group, was that the white luminance really does go over the top of things beautifully. I'd not burnished any of this, I'd not laid down the foundations very well for this white to go on it, but it really did go over the top of all my colours, and I think if I'd have pressed harder I would have had an even brighter white. So something to bear in mind, that if you're doing a lot of pencil art, or you're doing art with a little bit of pencil on top, this luminance white is a damn sight better than the polychromos. I will confirm that, and I'm really glad that I've got it in my arsenal now. I think it'll be perfect to use when I'm out and about, if I've not managed to leave lighter areas in my painting. So I'm quite pleased with that. But that's my review. Like I said, there will be some future videos coming up with my Bob Ross liquid white and the Sarah Renee Clark colour cubes as well, so do subscribe if you've not already done so, and hit that notification bell so you are the first to know when I upload. But thank you very much for sticking it this far, and thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. soon.